Hey guys, and welcome to a showdown between two war gods of old. On the left hand side, representing DBD and the Skaven, we have Rebane up against the Sheik and XMT's led Greenskin forces. Should be a good fun game, and as you can see, is a rather interesting deployment zone by the Greenskin forces all round. They've gone for a very sneaky stabbing approach with Night Goblin Squig Hoppers on the flanks. Looks like they've got two on either side, and a load of Night Goblin Fanatics in the back line here, looking to put pressure onto the Skaven juicy central pocket, with those Fanatics hopefully allowing them to break down the back line really quickly and flood in onto all those weapon teams, although it doesn't look like there's too many, but we'll get to the Skaven in just a little bit. More Night Goblins as well as nasty Skulkers is going to be making up the main front line here, dotted all the way along, going nice and wide, and just behind them we have Night Goblin Archers. Night Goblin Archers combined with the Rusty Arrows can actually take down some of the larger threats Skaven can bring, Hellpit Abominations, Rat Ogres and the like, if they are protected, and I'm assuming at this point, the Greenskin player is going to try to distract the Skaven as much as possible, hitting them from all angles and flanks, and should hopefully free up his archers to really bring the pain. For the leadership core, we do have an Orc Shaman down here on foot, bringing a pretty heavy pack of spells, actually. He is coming in with Edbutt, Brainbuster, as well as Gaze of Mork. We have a cheeky little Goblin Big Boss to help support and protect the mighty Grom the Paunch, arguably the most powerful character in the game at the moment. I would say there's a toss-up between him and the Fey Enchantress coming in for the Bretonians, but look at him in all his glory. His little gobbo's looking rather excited to be here and get involved in the action. So for the forces of the Skaven, it's a really interesting build actually. We do have a decent amount of range, 4 weapon teams all round, 2 Rattling Gunners and 2 Poison Wind Mortars, but that's not too much to protect. I see a lot of players over-investing in the back line, particularly up against Greenskins who are very good at swarming, can be pretty risky. For the front line, we have Skaven Slaves with spears. Secondary line is made up of Clan Rats. Looks like they have some chevrons on them as well to give them a little bit more meat to hold back the enemy. A couple more units in the back burners. We have some Rat Ogres, looks like 2 units hanging out in the centre next to all the weapon teams as is expected of them. Very good counter initiation units. And in the back, we have the Morskitter's Hellion, a regiment of renowned mutant Rat Ogre. This bad boy can certainly bring the punishment. Coming in with Warp Discharge, he's very good at clearing out chaff. And of course, he is Mobile Terror, very good up against the low leadership of the Greenskins on a whole. We have a Warlock Engineer as well, bringing all manner of goodies to the table. We have the Warp Lightning, as well as Howling Warp Gale, Doom Rockets, and the Warp Stone Armour. And leading the forces, we have the Deathmaster Snickage himself, my favourite of the Skaven Lords. Him and Itziclaw, real bad to the bones characters, and he can certainly burst down a character or two, but Grom, known as one of the tankiest characters in the entire game, I think it might take a little bit more to really put him in his grave. Rattling Gunners do continue to shoot in now to the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers over on this flank, and Rat Ogres have got that initial engagement. It looks like the Greenskin player's micro slipping up just a little bit. He's trying to micromanage a ridiculous number of units all across the battlefield, with Fanatics whirling in, trying to break down the back line and push their way through these Clan Rats. But the Clan Rats have held firm and pushing back the enemy, but in comes Grom, and he's certainly going to be a bit more tough to pin in place. Going straight for those Rattling Gunners. Hail after hail of arrow is coming in from the Rusty Arrows, as well as the Night Goblin Archers. And it looks like the Deathmaster Sigil has gone down, so let's see how Deathmaster Snickage does actually do up against Grom, now that he has been immobilised and pinned in place. My god, he has bursted his HP down! In a matter of seconds, he's surrounded, down to about half health. And he can once again now get moving, but it might be a little bit too little too late. More chunks come off him. Minus 22 leadership, this is insane! Down to 1,200 health. A panicked Brainbuster goes down, completely missing the blob. And Grom the Paunch, I don't think he's going to be able to get out of this. He does shatter. That was like 20 seconds. That was madness. The tankiest Lord in the game gone in an instant, but it's certainly not over yet. Greenskins looking pretty good, apart from losing their Lord. Poison Wind Mortars are now being shut down here by the Court Night Goblin Archers, and the other Poison Wind Mortars being shut down by a mixture of Night Goblin Squig Hoppers and pressure raining in from the Night Goblins. And a lot of the punch of this Skaven build has been dealt with. Rat Ogres are fleeing, more Skaven Slaves as well as follow them, alongside the weapon teams like Rattling Guns. Warlock Engineer can attempt to fight here. Deathmaster Snickage has got a little bit confident. He's got quite big for his boots now that he has managed to indeed kill the notorious Grom. Charging into the back onto the Night Goblin Archers, but taking huge damage. When unsupported, the Deathmaster is really glass cannon, and he has they need stabbing popped on him, lowering his melee defense. Luckily, some more poison and mortars are continuing to rain in fire, although it looks like, just as I say that, they get shut down there by the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers. Night Skulkers have been shattered for good, but the Deathmaster getting very, very low here, trying to duel the double character of the Greenskins. Slippery has been popped, he's teleported, he's doing all his flips and tricks, but he's down to basically no health here. 834, but not before he slaughters the Orc Shaman and tries to move on to the third Greenskin leadership member. Really going for the hat trick there. However, I think he's might not be able to do it this time. Down to about 500 health. Night Goblin Squig Hoppers aren't able to surround him. It looks like the Deathmaster himself has now gone down as more Night Goblins start to swarm in his direction. Nice little juke there from the Night Goblins. They managed to dodge the lightning from the sky before whipping back around once more to come and start applying pressure to the Warlock Engineer, trying to counter-punch the enemy's leadership now that their own has been dealt with. In comes the Regiment of Renowned Mutant Rat Ogre with a belly slam onto those Night Goblin Squig Hoppers. Doing some good work. Looks like those guys are routing and running. Other units also starting to flee. In the distance, Rat Ogre is doing a really solid job here, just running down the Night Goblin Archers, realising they're one of the main threats we can still face in this build. So we're going to force them off, drive them to the edge of the battlefield, shatter them, make sure they can't come back in the late game and be pesky. Some Night Goblins have charged into Clan Rats, but the Clan Rats chevron up should be able to deal with them relatively comfortably. And now that the Greenskin leadership has fallen, you can see the Goblin Big Boss is terrified and running away. This Regiment Renowned Mutant Rat Ogre is going to be a nightmare to deal with. Up to 64 kills and basically full health. Somehow the Deathmaster's still running. He's been running for an age now. -2 leadership and down he goes, feasted upon by the Squigs of the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers. Balance power is dead even at the moment. Both armies losing their leadership early on. Night Goblin Squig Hoppers are going to be able to chase off the Warlock Engineer. I don't think there's too much the Skaven can do to actually come back and save this little guy, unless maybe these Clan Rats can attempt to intercept, but by then it could be a little too late. The Hellion, doing some good work here, is surrounded now by the 8-peak loons, of course are unbreakable, which can be a big problem, but luckily here's those big strikes which do come down, similar to how the Thunderous one works for the Lizardmen, and that should help him clear through this chaff. We have more Rat Ogre as well, bounding towards the enemy. Brutally cunning these guys are. Gonna be, let's see how it goes. Bam! Bathing in the blood of Greenskins. That's what we like to see. Goblin Big Boss is routing, although more Fanatics have gone down. They're probably going to do more friendly fire than anything, although clipping a few of the Rat Ogres, doing some nice damage on the approach, as Night Goblin Squig Hoppers once again try to get in there to do some damage. Second unit has finished off that Engineer. No magic left for the Skaven now, likewise with the Greenskins. We have a nice unit of Clan Rats coming back. They're relatively healthy. Balance power, though, pretty heavy in favour of the Greenskin forces at the moment, as their archers do rally, but these Rat Ogres are going to be a huge problem. Smoke Bomb does go down to lower their speed, so they can't escape the nasty Skulkers. I don't think they're going to care too much, because they actually shatter them, eating them whole, and now they can push on and finish off all these units which are coming back. Night Goblins wavering, yeah, they're not going to be able to take any charges from the Rat Ogres themselves. Squig Hoppers, though, with a war, do engage with them, doing some really nice damage, trying to chunk them down whilst that war is active. And over here, we can see that the Night Goblin Regiment around, the 8-peak loons, are finally going down. 32 of those guys left. The Hellion is up to 151 kills, but getting pretty low on health. Balance power has once again come back into the middle. A glorious Fanatic spin goes off and able to rout those Rat Ogres, who should be able to come back to the fray. There's not much mobility left on the Greenskin forces to chase down routing troops. In the distance, those Clan Rats did manage to eventually catch those Night Goblin Squig Hoppers and shatter them for good, and that's going to be a nice boon for the Skaven forces coming back in here in the later quarters of the game. Rat Ogres do manage to rally. They're very tired and wavering, though it might be best to try and gather his forces so they can encourage each other a little bit more before once again moving back into the enemy battle lines. Hellion is going to find himself in a bit of a fight soon. The Goblin Big Boss has returned to the field, although he's regretting that decision, instantly being flattened to the ground in the muck and mud. 600 HP. If he gets one or two good, well-placed hits on him, he'll be going down with a bit more of a whimper rather than a fight. Night Goblin archers are allowed to rain in fire at the moment onto the Rat Ogre, and that's doing massive damage. He's managed to drag down the Goblin Big Boss at the same time, but his leadership is starting to waver really badly. Rat Ogres arriving just in the nick of time here to beat down these Night Goblin archers and protect their larger cousin. The Night Goblin Squadron is going to attempt to deal with the Rat Ogres. On the charge, they can do some really nice damage. Rat Ogres are a very glass cannon with only 30 armor, but it is looking a little bad now for the Greenskins. A ton of units are shattering and forcing off. Night Goblins, the regiment round, about to go down. Just 5 of those guys left. They're not going to have too much impact left on the battlefield. Night Goblins bravely charging into the Rat Ogres, but their leadership's so low at the moment and wavering just on the approach. As soon as they get whacked around a little bit, oh my god! I say whacked around a little bit. His entire top of his body's just exploded. These Rat Ogres are having a really fun time. And it looks like the Skaven forces in general are. Balanced power has now started to ebb and flow in their favour a little bit more. We do have some nasty skulkers, 93 of them in fact, who's certainly no joke coming back to the fray. And if they can isolate these targets one by one, they may have a relatively good chance, although the Clarence of Shields might be a bit of a problem as well, and a load of the Greenskin forces are just running. I think the balance power is so even because the Goblin Big Boss is still alive, although is he really alive? I mean, he's just kind of getting pounded. There's no way to live. Down to 254 health at the moment, minus 38 leadership, kind of just waiting for him to shatter at the moment. More Night Goblins holding the line bravely up against the Rat Ogres, but they're going to be going down in rather gruesome deaths. They are the 8-peak looms, they probably don't mind it though. They're kind of used to being chucked into suicide situations and coming back into the next game somehow. Every Night Goblin's head are starting to break every single time this mutant Rat Ogre rears its ugly head. They just start to flee for their lives, and the nasty skulkers will eventually be revealed, and I'm sure the Rat Ogres can simply turn around and beat the living snot out of these guys. Rat Ogre is continuing to chase down those Night Goblins, force them off the field, so we will fast forward a little bit, as it looks like there's going to be a little bit of chasing and routing. Nasty Skulkers desperately pop that smoke bomb as the enemy do come in to engage, but it is going to be too little too late, particularly with those Clan Rats on approach in reinforcements. Very well played to these two champs. That was a really fun game to cast. Very interesting tactics by both of them. I love the big fat surround with the Night Goblins and the predominantly Goblin force. Everyone knows when it comes to Greenskins, I love a little bit of a Goblin army. Now there was one Orc in there, the Orc Shaman, but Grom, very interesting, got absolutely slaughtered by Deathmaster Snickich in a matter of seconds. I guess he didn't pop Lucky Banner in time, and that little bit of Miss Micro really cost the Greenskin forces. Because of that, Deathmaster Snickich just had him on a platter. Though himself got a little bit eager and kind of full himself after that kill, burst ahead of his army and then got himself assassinated as well. But not before he managed to take down the enemy Shaman and did some good work as well to the Goblin Big Boss. Hope you enjoyed that game. We'll get to all the damage value and damage dealt in just a second. But if you enjoyed, make sure to leave the video a big fat thumbs up and comment down below. What was your favourite moment? Who was your MVP? What would you like to see next? Also, feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. We're getting very close to 5,000 subscribers, which is a really cool milestone that I'm very eager to hit. And at the same time, it does give you guys a little bit of a heads up when my videos are coming out. Links in the description down below to my Discord, where you can submit replays, chill out with a load of cool people, see a load of pictures of ducks, get involved in events and all that kind of cool stuff that I host. And also there's links down below to my Patreon, where you can indeed support the channel. But well played to Rebane, thank you for sending this one in, bud. And Deathmaster Snickich, 20 kills, which isn't too insane, but 2.5k damage value. A lot of that coming with his kill of Grom, and of course the Orc Shaman as well. Nearly 7,000 damage dealt. Very impressive stuff by him. As for the Warlock Engineer, it's good to see him in action. Don't get to see him terribly often. Only 366 damage value. The reason you get to see him, of course, is because the summons of the Plague Priests tend on general just to be a bit better. And it kind of showed here. You know, having a few more rat summons probably would have made the game a little bit more comfortable for the Skaven. Skaven Slaves simply here to die, and they did that job rather well. Very impressed by the Clan Rats. They traded really effectively up against the Night Goblins, particularly in that back line, who almost got in and shut down the opposing wind mortars really early on and the Rattling Gunners, but no, the Clan Rats formed a shield wall, did their best Spartan impression, and said, "You shall not pass." A bit of Gandalf in there as well, and forced back the enemy. As for the Rattling Gunners, they performed pretty poorly. Didn't have too many good targets for them to focus down. And for the Poison Wind Mortars, one performed really well actually. Nearly 1.2k damage value. Did lovely spread burst damage along that bow line, which is pretty key because that's one of the best targets the Greenskins had for taking down the Skaven forces. The other unit unfortunately just got shut down very early on. Ogres, certainly MVPs for me, all 3 units, so the mutant one as well. 303 kills, 1,540 damage value here. The other one, 628. good disciplined cycle charging in the late game by Rebane really stopped the Greenskins from being able to rally their forces together and drag down the big beasts. Likewise, the regiment-renowned Mutant Ratogger 1.5k damage value also helped clear off the rest of the enemy leadership in the later stages. Well played as well. To the Sheik here, did a really good performance. Unfortunately for Grom, it's still got 628 damage value, which isn't too shabby, considering he basically got assassinated within like 15 to 20 seconds. But yeah, getting him kind of in the thick of it is what you do with Grom, but I guess he certainly didn't expect to see him burst down so much by the Deathmaster. The Goblin Big Boss did a good job as well, trying to rally the forces in the late game and keep them fighting. 781 damage value, eventually taking the scalp off the Deathmaster himself. Unfortunately, he won't live to tell his friends the tale. The Orc Shaman, only 179 damage value, didn't get to see him cast too many spells. He did have that panicked Brainbuster to attempt to save Grom, but it was a little bit late. As for Night Goblins across the board, relatively solid kills, obviously going to be coming off those Fanatics for the most part, and 8 Pigloons, 707 damage value, not too shabby. Nasty Skulkers, 382 damage value is not good here, but the other one's 411, 782, faring slightly better. How did the Bowline perform? Not many kills, 173 damage value, 584, 220, 690. Really key in the end to try and make this game as close as possible by helping to whittle down the Rat Ogres, particularly this unit who didn't perform anywhere near as well as the other one. And you can see what happens if you don't focus them down with that shooting. As for the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers, love to see these guys in action. Very thematic unit for the most part. Coming in, though, only 328 damage value here. 1.8k, oh, that's disgusting. You can see the ones which certainly got on top of those weapon teams. 1,152 and 793. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Sorry for the later upload than usual. I have just got back from work and I'm a very tired duckling. But on to the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Till next time, peace, peace. And as always, stay awesome.